How do I look?
Pretty good.
Is that
Anyways,
is that gray in your hair?
One is a lot. Just these updates are very stressful.
welcome everyone. I'm gonna start today, right? Welcome everyone to this Webmaster Search Helpdesk Hangout number 104. I'm Wissam Dandan. I'll be your host for today. Before we start this hangout, let's do a round of introductions. Barry, go ahead.
Barry, I'm predicting a penguin update will happen later today.
Eric. You don't have a mic. Go ahead, Josh.
Hi, my name is Josh Paczynski. I'm an SEO with 14 years of experience. I primarily do penalty reconstruction and site audits, but I also do acrobatics, and I fly, and I shoot lasers out of my eyes.
Ruben. No. Thou, Vanessa, anybody wants to speak? Introduce themselves?
Could we all talk at the same time?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, William.
I'm William Rock. I've been doing SEO since 1998. Just a search geek, just like you guys.
Awesome. I think because Matt is not here, I think the perfect topics to tackle this hangout is negative SEO. So,
sorry, Matt.
Yeah. So as you can see, I mean, there's a lot of happening, like from Dan Padrovich, Steve Webb, where they're getting a lot of emails of extortion concerning, negative SEO. So, I mean, Josh, you're an expert, right? This stuff.
I hear a lot about it. I have a lot of clients who are attacked by negative SEO. Some mostly unsuccessfully, some successfully. There's many different tactics and variations that I've seen. Just recently, I saw one where the person got sent a bunch of spammy links, which Google will mostly ignore and or accept as generally good links, and then ignore later. But what the person did was then they deleted the 10,000 links, and they claim that this took the page right out of the SERP. So I haven't been able to confirm this yet, but it's a new angle on the link-based negative SEO that I'd never heard before. I'll have to do some testing to confirm it. There was another one that someone posted on your forum there, or your site, Barry, about people doing DOS attacks against a certain page when Googlebot comes to crawl it. And at the time, when he posted it, Googlebot would crawl. They'd have open persistent DOS attack, and so the page would serve a 500 level error. And Googlebot would notice that, and it wouldn't come back for 3 or 4 days, and it would drop the page out of the index, or out of the SERP for 3 or 4 days until Googlebot came back. And you could consistently keep DOSing the site, and Googlebot would think that it's having a 500 level error server and not come back. I'm happy to report that I guess Google was reading your blog, Search Engine Roundtable, and has changed it now slightly that Googlebot comes back much more regularly because he tested it. This guy, I got in contact with him and we've been talking. He tested it, and it will still, sending this DOS attack will still diminish the rankings of this page, quite possibly for many, many weeks, but it doesn't seem like he can remove it from the SERP entirely for a number of days like you could previously. So it's still not great, but Google is trying to make enhancements and improvements, and whenever we can report on these things, they'll try and fix and close the exploit.
But I think, the idea of, the scare tactic that if you send these, thousands and thousands of emails to small businesses, the fear of the unknown, they'll eventually pay that $1,500 just, get away. Take that $1,500 and get away. And it's worse, I think I see it as like better success than having these thousands of email requesting if you need, SEO services for your website.
Yeah, I personally think it's deplorable. Instead of spending the $1,500 for them not to spam link you, which may or may not hurt you, it depends on what you've been doing in the past and how guilty you already look, I would just take that $1,500 and pay a good SEO to fix it later, if and when it's a problem.
Yep.
So, Josh, quick question on your DOS attacks. I mean, are you able to actually reverse and figure out from those DOS attacks? I know that it's Googlebot, but it really comes down to, I think, is figuring out who's actually attacking you and doing some forensics on reverse IPing and coming back to the answer of that one person that's actually either tossing something out of a data center with a hacked WordPress or any other CMS that's possibly just a bot attack.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, it's a DOS attack. It's illegal as far as I know in most Western countries. It is technically a hack, right? So it's not like just making bad links. That's not illegal. That's just against Google's guidelines.
Yeah.
But this is actually illegal to do. And yeah, you can hire people to, and if your server provider is good enough, they can find out where the DOS attack is coming from. But sometimes it's not so easy to find it, or sometimes it's coming from countries where it's not illegal and there's no extradition. So I was working for a very large company doing SEO consulting for them, and in some of the herbal pill niches, and these guys make a lot of money online, big company, and they were getting DOS attacked, and as it turns out, it was a UDIP DOS attack from a type of game. I can't remember if it was World of Warcraft servers or some kind of online role-playing game server was thinking that their websites were another server and trying to communicate with them, and it ended up being a DOS attack. So it could have been completely, hi Kevin, it could have been completely innocent, but I doubt it because it happened for days, and we'd contact them and get them to turn it off, and it would happen for more days. And it was impossible to find out through the service who had initiated that attack. So it can be very difficult sometimes.
No, I agree. I had to do the same thing with a few other clients recently that were getting attacked, and that's why I was asking the question. I actually come from the security background from a data center and watched my security engineers go backwards and find everything from whatever country it came from because they were always protecting the data center and many other clients. So it was kind of a needed thing for their industry. So anyhow, I think that I'd love to talk to you a little bit further about these attacks and maybe see if I can help you out through it.
Sure.
I mean, I think probably needs to talk with right now with Barry about what kind of instinct he had that kind of had the predictions about Penguin 3 rolling out today.
I had a vision in my dream last night. The Google gods came to me and said, there will be a Penguin update. I saw Matt Cutts with a halo and penguins dancing around him. Is that enough of a way to, of course, so that means a Penguin update's coming.
Are you sure it wasn't like the scene in the We Are the Spartans with the giant penguin and fighting the giant penguin? It wasn't like that?
No, it was more... No, it was more of a heavenly atmosphere versus a, fire and... No, I'm joking. Just based on the chatter. There's a lot of chatter going on the whole entire week around from webmasters about ranking fluctuations, major ones, mostly in the Black Hatter forums, which are more these days considered link builders, which are, I don't know why Black Hatters are looped into link builders these days. That being said, also all the automated ranking checkers, Mozcast, Alguru, Searchmetrics, and Serps.com are all off the scale the whole entire week. And also because of the way John Mueller basically has been badgered constantly for the past few weeks about Penguin. And in his last remarks, he basically went ahead and said it's not happening this morning, which passed already, but he thinks it will happen soon-ish. I don't think it's his call. I think Google has to just do their final checks. In my opinion, it's ready to go. They just want to do their final checks and hit the button to make it go live. So I wouldn't be surprised if they announce it, 4 p.m., 5 p.m. this Friday or next Friday. And the
I'll
dream
bet you
address.
guys $100, 100 American dollars, that they will not release Penguin in this month.
Okay, we'll let Mary collect that money and put it in safe.
Only
She's
$100.
trustworthy, yeah.
A guy like you, only $100.
Well, there's 6 of you, and I didn't want to make it $1,000 because then you guys wouldn't jump in. But now that Baruch's here, I'll make it $1,000. Sorry, Baruch. I'm just betting these guys a considerable amount of money that they won't release Penguin in this month.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
My feelings, it's going to happen this weekend.
Well, then I bet you $100 it won't.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
What is everybody expecting out of this update?
To recover.
Refresh.
That's it?
Well, people are just expecting to recover and make money. That's all they want. Bottom line, if I was a reporter and my website got hit, so what, But I have a business, people are still calling, They're laid off. They got bills to pay. They want to know when they want to come, when to come back.
I see that, and I'm also thinking, what else are they doing to recover from a Penguin update? Are they also looking at other elements of all these updates that are previous that we all know about, versus just, hey, I'm going to come out of this Penguin
And spam again.
and well, either spam again, or they're not going to get the results that they were wanting because they're still penalized somewhere else.
But there is a thing, there is a kind of like a round 2, right? Round 2, when the review team looks at it, it's a bit harder to come back, right? So I wouldn't say round 2, I would say strike 2. And then strike 3, I think, I think John, I would love John to answer that. What happens at strike 3? I mean, does the review team not talk to you at all,
Are you guys talking about Penguin, or are you talking about manual?
Penguin, yeah. In regard to,
There's no such thing as strikes in algorithm.
well, this is what I think. There was one Hangout. I'm not sure what number it was when I asked him about that. But he said, I mean, you can, you fix yourself and you come back again. So
there's no such thing.
I asked him how many times can you do that. If you take a look at one of the Hangouts, I'm not sure when, but he did answer, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Baruch. I saw that Hangout. John has mentioned sometimes that there are no strikes with Penguin or Panda. If you get hit by it, you fix it, you can get out, and there's no stigma or there's no flag on your site that you were hit once before.
Yes, it is. There's a history on the left. There is a history. They could see how many times, right?
Yeah, but that's the manual team. So, but for manual actions, they have definitely said that that if you get hit once and you clean it up, if you get hit again, they're going to be much less likely to trust you, and the penalty could be much more severe.
Right.
Now, John Mueller has also speculated, or I've personally inferred, my own personal opinion, that if you're hit by Penguin, it might be a negative quality factor for Panda, or if you're hit by Panda, it might be easier to get by Penguin. I've wondered if that's the case, and he's kind of said sometimes, and then sometimes he said no, that's not how it works. So that one's kind of up in the air for me personally, but otherwise, there's no history there. Penguin, you get hit, you clean her off, you should be fine, or Panda.
But there are different grades of being hit by these algorithms.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's Panda Light, Penguin Light. Those are, John has said so.
So in that case, it might appear as if, 3 strikes you're out because get hit again, come back a little bit, get hit again. It's like never ending.
Most clients I look at, I don't know about you guys, but they're not usually hit by one thing. They're normally hit by 2 or 3 different things.
Usually Penguin and the manual action thing.
That's only because you want to build them more.
No, I show them the proof.
But I think I mean, do they mean by light as, when they have let's say they have a manual action, right? Light manual action, is it the one that have, the message some links, and the harder one is the all site or something like that.
That makes me very angry. The difference between the partial match penalty versus links,
Mm-hmm.
and the difference between the unnatural link notice action taken versus cite. They're two very different penalties. One, you have to do a lot of work. The other one, in my opinion, you shouldn't do any work at all.
No.
I can be more specific if you want me to be. I didn't want to.
So you're saying most of your clients, when the messages are received, there's 1 or 2 warnings. Usually, like 2 warnings. There's never like a single warning.
Well.
No, I'm saying that there's 2 different kinds of link penalties.
Yeah.
One is a partial match, and they just take action against certain links that they find suspect. In that particular case, they've already taken action against the links that they think are suspect. In my personal opinion, it is foolish. It's imprudent. It's not good risk mitigation SEO to go and delete more of your links at that point. They have already selected the links they think are suspect, and they've removed them from your link graph. You're only going to damage your rankings further, in my personal opinion, if you go and start deleting more links.
Yeah,
I would just take that as a warning that either 1, someone's trying to do negative SEO against you, and so you have to be squeaky clean, or 2, you've been foolish and you went and built bad backlinks, and you need to stop doing that because they're starting to find it, but they're not as sure that you're doing it or not. This is totally different.
Bad advice, and
I mean, I think also that, I mean, also John Mueller and I saw it multiple times that even though the manual action was, and even the email, the message they send you, and they say, they give you examples of these links, they actually pass certain, authority or whatever it is, certain Jews to have that specific ranking right now you currently have, or you already have, and you got a lot, but you have to delete these. Eventually have to delete it. Number 1 is deleting all these, and similar to whatever is in the mail or whatever you built before. And that's why you see where in certain instances when these kind of messages, when it get revoked, actually you have a decent traffic, but you never get your old traffic back.
Yeah, I mean, you see that all the time where people get either the partial match or the full unnatural link notice, and they go and delete a bunch of links, and it hurts their ranking. They actually go down in ranking because they either deleted too many, or they deleted the good links and not enough of the bad, or the bad. So you have to be very careful, obviously. I would delete as few links as possible, and in my personal opinion, when it comes to the partial match, I wouldn't delete any at all. When it comes with the full unnatural link notice versus the site, then you have no choice. You have to go in and delete the vast majority of any link that looks even relatively suspect. And if you don't do that, they're not going to release the penalty.
But Josh, are you saying that you wouldn't even go after, for example, ones that are clearly like payday, lawyers, loans, etc., like that? I mean, because any of us could go through there and pretty quickly just, figure out the real bad ones, and then the ones that are, we're not sure that Google's figured that out. So, I mean, are you saying that you wouldn't even get rid of those? You're just going to let those labor out there?
Quite frankly, yes.
Why?
Because all I'm going to do is damage my clients' rankings. Will Google eventually find them? Maybe, maybe not. And when they do, then we'll deal with it. But I don't see any reason to damage their rankings. That's not what they hired me for. They hired me to maintain or increase their rankings, right?
Right, but you're predisposing that the removal of those is going to do that. And I mean, you're saying that 100% of the time, because we've removed some when we know that they're bad ones, when we know that they're probably already been caught by Google because they're part of larger ones. We're pretty confident, and based on follow-up, that those are not bringing them down, that those have already been discredited, and Google is already not giving any juice for those. So that's, I guess, where I think I'm trying to get some clarification from you on that.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, and I agree. When SEOs look at a backlink profile, it is dead easy to see what is a suspect link and what is not. However, at the same time, and so you can delete quite a lot of those, but at the same time, I would rather spend my time doing positive things like making great content or
Sure.
whatever for the site
Sure.
instead of guessing what links might be bad and also increasing their risk that they can lose rankings in the process.
Of
I mean,
course.
if they've specifically hired me to look at their backlink profile, well then I'll look at their backlink profile. But I would
Well,
rather do.
Can I jump in there real quick? I think, Kevin, you're on the right point, and Josh, I'm going to have to. I think I have to disagree with you on this one, Josh. I think that basically I've actually experienced. I experienced the same exact ranking algorithm back in 2011 with a very large client that lost over 10 to 20,000 visitors a day based off of what he did back in the history of building links, article spinning, you name it, he did it. And so, trashy comment, spam. So the last 2 years, he's been actually going through and cleaning up everything that he's actually done, spun articles to. I mean, you can easily pull, like Josh said, pull a link report and go through this stuff. But then, Kevin, you're also doing the same thing where you're going through the links and going, okay, this is a trashy link. How did that happen? And can I get it removed? The other thing is, some of the marketers also put a bunch of comment spam out there too. So you got to go back into your profile and say, okay, how do I get a hold of that webmaster and get rid of my comments on that profile or on that blog? Now, those are the things I see that Google is going to really start taking a bigger look at to see, did you spam in the past? Are you a spammer currently? And are you able to spam in the future?
Of course, but to just go and take a shotgun and start shooting holes in their link profile is risky.
That's not what we're talking about, though.
Who's shooting what? What do you mean?
And I think it's dangerous to I mean, we're almost playing like Matt Cutts here, where we say, well, if you're doing this, then you clearly can't be rating good content, and that's obviously not what this group would be saying. Is we're able to go through and figure out pretty clearly the things that should no longer be part of a backlink profile, and safely go through those while we are also trying to do the right things. But again, I think it's let's not play like Google and say just build great content, because that's not going to cut it.
And Josh made a very good valid point too on that subject as far as being able to bring do I want to focus on links and actually just the removal of all that, or do I want to focus on the client as a whole? What are their objectives for that month in their marketing plan? How can I effectively help them to get that accomplished? I look at it as a conversion optimizer, not actually a backlink maker or anything like that. I have done no backlinking since 2001 because I saw it damage another client. When the Florida update went crazy, everything went nuts, the whole industry went nuts, and a lot of people failed. And I figured, oh, well, if Google's going to actually do that now, what are they going to do 10, 20 years out? Are they going to get smarter? And they have.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Bert.
So what are you saying? You're not you're not building at all, like no links whatsoever, nothing.
No, I don't need. I've even done it in the example I showed you guys way back in the pizza industry. For the word pizza or localized pizza, there's no backlinks to that ever made.
And so why are you creating all those low-quality guest blog posts?
There was none. I didn't create any of them. This client, a different.
That's a segue. That's a segue.
That's a segue. When I'm not building links, I've got other people that still come to me that have built links and had marketing companies build link profiles for them and spam and comment and do everything for these clients without them realizing what they were doing to their own companies. So what I've had to do is pull these companies back to health and actually remove at the same time as build forward. Video content, who are these guys? Could it be a chiropractor? Okay, how do you market a chiropractor? Everybody's marketing a chiropractor, but how do you differentiate yourself?
Okay, let's move. I think Barry mentioned it right as a segue. Let's talk about the bad guest blogging, the update that had on they call it Webmaster Guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you, Barry? Go ahead.
Do you want me to talk?
Always.
They did an update to Webmaster Guidelines, specifically around I think they said no, one second, let me bring it up. Around the little or no original content section saying, adding a clause there specifically around using low quality guest blog posts. My opinion is soon all you guys will be seeing are a bunch of manual actions around low-quality blog posts, but specifically not around the links, which they said that lots of manual actions for in the past, but now around content spam issues around low-quality blog posts.
Like what? From like those enzymes and stuff, you think?
From like stuff that I write on Searching Roundtable or anything that's low quality.
That's not low quality. How is it?
He's being sarcastic. Anytime he opens his mouth, he's being sarcastic, people.
This is the sarcastic end of the week SEO hangout.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
With regards to the partial penalty, Josh, you were talking about, what I found in my experience was we dropped for some phrases when we got the partial penalty, and what I heard was if you don't remove that partial penalty, you'll never get the rankings back for those phrases. So when you say if you weren't going to clean up the links, I've heard that if you don't clean up the links, you won't ever recover for those phrases that did drop.
And that's what I was trying to imply. I mean,
I disagree. I disagree with those findings. I disagree with the people who say that. Google has already selected the link. Yes, you'll lose ranking because Google thinks some links are suspect. They've removed them from your link graph. There's nothing you can do about it.
Those phrases, you'll never get those phrases back because the phrases are red flagged.
No.
No, that's not true.
No.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So, Josh, do you think that the links best when they got caught, when X website get caught, will pass 0 value, or do you think that manual penalty is an actual anchor, have nothing to do with the links that you currently have? It's just an anchor that's pulling you down, where you lose, traffic or visibility on a couple of keywords or the whole site, or just related, or these links don't pass any more value. Because their main problem, Google, is they can't identify at scale that this link is bad, so it would not actually, send value through that link.
Right. I think the difference, it's very clear. If you read the wording of the partial match penalty and listen to what John Mueller says about it, and you read the wording of the unnatural link penalty and what John Mueller says about it, the partial match penalty is very clear. They have taken action on certain links that they think are suspect. They don't care who made them. They don't know who made them. All they know is that it's under a certain threshold of bad enough for them to discount, but not so bad that they're going to give you a natural link notice because your whole link profile looks spammy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's pretty clear. Personally, this is my personal opinion, if you've got the partial match penalty, you should simply take it as a warning that either someone's doing negative SEO against you, or you've been building bad links, and stop. Don't delete any of your links, because they have already gone and selected the links they think are suspect.
So let me ask you a question,
Please.
So like building bad links, I mean, it has so much bad reputation out there. I mean, if I send a client to go do something good and it gets awareness on the local, which I've done for, like, let's say local newspapers and stuff, I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, isn't that building a link, I mean, there's still good things out there.
It's a different type of link. I mean,
but there's still...
Hold on, go ahead.
Mary. Go ahead, Mary. Try if you can.
Great,
Okay, let me try. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's working.
No,
Yeah, good.
it's not working. It does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, great. Okay, good. So when the partial match penalties first came out, or warnings, or whatever they are, I used to tell people, same as Josh, don't pay any attention to them. Google has said that we're just taking targeted action on those links. And every single client that I have seen get those match warnings has seen a dramatic drop in rankings. And a lot of them have been dramatic, but over a long period of time, right? And all of them have huge spammy backlink profiles. So what I take from that is Google saying, okay, maybe we're not giving you the same type of penalty as a site-wide, but that you still need to take action on this. And these are all the links that the Penguin algorithm is taking into effect. So these are all sites that, I mean, the vast majority of them are also affected on Penguin dates as well. So to me, when I see, and maybe I'm biased because what I do is link audits and penalty work, but I've yet to see a site that did not drop after getting a partial match.
Well, let's just clarify this. I think we can clarify this real quickly. I agree with what Josh is saying to a point, but here's the clarification that keeps getting missed: is if Google has already decided that those are not going to be counted, then removing them will no longer add any additional harm. Okay. Second of all, is that if I go in there and I see that they have bad backlinks that I know are spammy, then to his point, he doesn't want to harm their rankings, and I totally get that. But that's a now statement. That is not mitigating future risk. So I think that's where some of the confusion is coming in.
I totally agree, and I want to respond both to Mary's and Kevin's great points. They both had great points. One, whether or not the partial match penalty links are the same kind of links that Penguin looks for, I think there's an overlap there, definitely, but I would have to disagree. In my research that I've done, the Penguin links are pretty much exclusively exact match query to exact match page or domain correlation, plus some other spammy blog factors. However, that aside, that being said, I have seen plenty of clients who have received the partial match penalty who did not lose any rankings. It just depends on what links they pull out of your link profile. But it makes perfect sense, and I am not saying that people who get the partial match penalty don't, often some do, get a decrease in rankings. That doesn't mean it's a penalty, of course. It means they've pulled those beneficial links from their link profile. And now, responding to Kevin's point about risk mitigation, I totally hear what you're saying about future-proofing it, and I'm six in one hand, half dozen in the other. On the one hand, I see what you're saying. You know, if you know for a fact you have some bad links, and you're the kind of company and/or person that wants to future-proof it, you can take the risk now and remove those links from your backlink profile. But because Google is so secretive as to what links are actually bad, and I'm afraid it's a sad fact that many of these bad-looking links are, quite frankly, still helping their ranking. Personally, in my own personal opinion, I think it's just too risky to do at this time unless a client specifically comes to me and says, I don't care about what other services you offer. All I want you to do is do a link audit and remove the bad links right now, because in a year we're going to have a major selling period, and so even if we lose some rankings now, we're going to go up then, and that's all hunky-dory. Then I go, okay, fine, no problem, and I do it. That's what I would say.
They really hate forums. I could tell you that. Forums is a major thing for them. Like, they hate it.
Can I jump in real quick?
If you take a look at all the examples, you know, if we all wanted to get to know what it is, all webmasters would have got together, you know, thousands of webmasters, and we could have all looked at, you know, our you know, sample sites and, you know, see what they really hate and compare it.
I did that. I actually went ahead and built a database of all of the sample manual actions or examples they gave in there. And Google had like has a web page where they show all, not all, but sampling of all the manual actions they're giving out throughout the time. It samples every X seconds. I used to scrape it and build a database, and then I got in trouble for doing so because they're blocking spiders from crawling it, and I wasn't obeying by their robots.txt file. So I got a little bit in trouble, so I removed it. But I was just trying to help the SEO community, and they.
You were just trying to help.
Hey, Josh, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
As far as like the removal of links and everything else, I know that everybody's afraid of harming their rankings and stuff. But what happens in the future if you don't fix these things? And then the other portion of that is, if a webmaster or an SEO company was to create all this crap out on the web, should they actually go back and clean it up?
I would agree with the last part. I mean, it would be nice if people who damaged other people's rankings would help out. Would do the right thing, would do a moral thing. I've talked a lot about ethics, and so that obviously would be my opinion. But regarding the first thing, it's either definitely hurt my rankings now to maybe save it later. That's the calculation as far as I'm concerned in my head.
Right, but now I'm gonna throw this back at you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're writing good content and doing all of the right things in addition to it, you're gonna bring them right back, Josh. Aren't you just thinking about that web owner? I mean, can't you just help them, dude?
Yes, my ranking efforts are extremely efficient and powerful. However, you know, as you well know, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to rank anybody for anything at any given time.
What?
I know.
You don't have a guarantee?
No, I guarantee that
Dude.
I guarantee I'll do my best, and I guarantee I will. If they pay me for 5 hours, I will spend 5 hours. I don't guarantee any page 1 rankings or any page whatever rankings.
I know you don't.
But I guarantee I'll cash the check.
Actually, if they send me a check, I'll probably forget about it and it'll sit in my wallet for a few months, and I'll cash it like 6 months later.
High roller.
No, just lazy. I live up on a mountain, nowhere near a bank, and so if I ever decide to leave my apartment, then you know I may pass a bank. I may remember. I may not. So pay me in a check. I won't remember to cash it.
How about Google Wallet? I'll pay you with Google Wallet. There you go.
There we go. Bitcoins.
So why do you guys
Bitcoins?
Go ahead, Mary.
What do you guys think on the partial match messages? Then they say it's all ambiguous, right? They say we've taken targeted action. You don't need to do anything, but you should clean things up and file for reconsideration if you want to. Are they just trying to be sneaky? Or I mean, I really think that those links do need to be cleaned up, and some of those have been some of the hardest link cleanup projects that we've had. You know, that we've taken like 6 reconsideration requests, and it's a partial match. And is it really worth spending all that money when your rankings are not going to change dramatically? I mean, it's an iffy situation, right?
Yeah, I don't want to get too conspiracy theorist on you guys, but quite frankly, I think the only reason why they say that is so that you can help their machine learning. There's no other reason to choose a bunch of links that may or may not be bad. That they've already chosen what links are suspect. They just want you to help them choose some more suspect links in the machine learning.
Machine learning.
You know what I think?
Marie, please, yeah.
Oh, this is just a theory, but I think that when they give the partial match warning, that there are different types, but they still give the same warning for all of these types. So I think there are some, you know, the ones where somebody's doing reputation management. So if I have a news site and I wrote this fantastic article about Barry, and Barry's put all these spammy links, you know, to my news site so that he can rank. I mean, that can be a partial match where they're just taking action on that one page, and I don't have to worry about that, right? But I think they give the same message for other types of partial match things, and I think that in the vast majority of cases, I mean, most of these sites I've seen, like I said, they had really spammy link profiles. So I don't know. I disagree. I think that they should all be cleaned up. But then I think probably like most sites need to have a good cleanup.
I'm trying to find examples of these
I think you're right
2
on.
partial matches that have.
I would agree with you too. While you're finding that link, I think that I've actually had the hardest time getting rid of links. The harder ones are the spammiest ones, I think, and nobody responds, and so you really can't.
What?
Links. Getting
Yeah,
rid
no. What was the ones you can't remove?
the ones that are the most spammiest. They're the hardest ones to seem to get rid of. I mean, if there was a comment spam on a blog, that's easy to get rid of. But it's hard when you're actually going, okay, I'm going to help you get rid of these because I know they're going to hurt you in the future. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes I'm wasting their money because I can't get them all removed.
So I wanted to add to that. So yesterday I removed, of course I removed things manually. So I called the guy yesterday and he says, why do you want me to take it down? Like, whatever you're doing is wrong. I mean, it's still considered as a link, you know? Google doesn't know what it's doing. Google doesn't know what they're doing, you know? So, and he says, well, you know, I'm going to have to charge you $100. You know, I am doing some work, so if you want, I'll go ahead and remove it.
I have had a lot of approaches without trying to act, and getting tons of emails back that says, well, it'll cost you $15 or it'll cost you $50 and that highest one, you've gotten the highest one so far, $100. But everybody wants money to be
the first one. You're not the first one to call. I had 10 guys calling me before and blah blah blah. You know, whatever Google's doing is not really, you know. So I just let him talk and sent him the money, and it was gone.
Cool. I've had to do that with a couple of forums where I joined their forum and then paid for advertising, and Webmaster took the bad stuff off that was on there from bad links and all sorts of other negative comments that were put up there for reasons of negative SEO. But you gotta do what you gotta do to get rid of that link sometimes, but sometimes it's not that easy to get rid of them, and if it's really super spammy, then it's not going to hurt your rankings by getting rid of it. It's going to actually help your rankings in the future eventually when the machine learning algorithm picks up and figures things out, even more so than it already has.
Some of them are not even indexed in Google, you know.
Yeah, but Google knows every single link. I mean, you look at some of these things, you know, our tools will show us everything. You know that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But and so they're going to be able to see that as well. You're laughing, Josh. Come on, jump in.
Oh no, it's sorry. It's the chat on the side. Just has nothing to do with the
conversation.
I mean, what kind of other news you have, Barry, for us this Friday?
News. Google thinks Neptune is Uranus. That's news. I'm not joking. I'm serious. The big thing that's going on, you guys are all SEO folks, not AdWords, but AdWords made a major change to their exact match, or they're making a major change to their exact match for the only purpose of making more money, which is not ethical.
Josh, this is when you come in. Okay.
Or it's
more. Yeah, I have no opinion on the ethics of that, but which you might find hard to believe. But no, I don't think it's as bad as everyone's saying, because I think it's kind of a fact, a representation of how good their entity search is becoming. You don't need to optimize for buy red apple versus buy red apples. They know it's the same topic. They know about red apples, and they know you can buy it. And so you don't have to. It's less about strings and more about things, I think. And so I think this is just a reflection of their improved algorithm. You can now, I think it's actually positive, because if somebody in SEO or at AdWords had camped out on that keyword and was paying a lot of money for it, now you can compete with them because Google knows about the topic. You can get on the same page one, and you don't have to buy the same keyword, so to speak.
Yeah, but they had this for a while now, and there was an option to turn it off. It was default on. So why remove that option?
Because I don't think it's relevant anymore. I don't think it's relevant to how their algorithms work, and so it's not helping.
Okay, so it is ethical. Okay.
Yay! Google did one thing right. One thing.
Barry, on that topic for paid advertising, since how you're kind of front line on that, have you had any information on the new policy for that's coming in effect, I believe, in the beginning of next month for advertisers that are selling things like paintball guns or airsoft or anything that actually has a projectile or a part for a projectile?
No.
No, it's allowed, I thought. Paintball guns, that stuff is all allowed.
Nope, they're shutting this down.
No, yeah, not firearms of any type.
When is that
they've
happening?
taken what they believe is an ethical position.
There
And
you go.
and that same company that I mentioned that lost that ranking is that same company. So they've taken a hit many times, and now they're taking a bigger hit by not being able to sell. Now they've got out their Amazon and everything else, but paid advertising, they're not going to be able to advertise at all to that store. And the answer that they got from Google was, you need to build a new site that just focuses on like masks and stuff like that, that doesn't have anything that has a fire or a paintball gun or any paintballs associated to it, and it can't link to your main store.
That's ridiculous.
I have not heard anything about that. When did this announcement come out?
This is from my client talking to Google, trying to figure out how he can actually still survive, as well as every one of the, you got A&S Beer out there, you've got some of the biggest paintball resellers in the world that are also going to be affected by this. And here's another little twist: Walmart will get away with it because they don't primarily sell paintball guns, but they can still sell all the stuff on their website and still advertise.
Oh, get out of town.
Dude, that's a good one for you, Josh, huh?
Okay, well,
I'll-
now I think there's an ethical problem.
See,
Now
I assumed you already knew this, Josh, because I thought you would be all over this one.
Oh, okay. Oh, boy. All right. I'm just going to mute myself for a bit while I swear.
Could
Lost.
somebody forward me this information?
Barry, I'll hook you up with the person that's actually having this problem in these conversations. I'll even do one better for you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I mean, they've done moves like this in the past over like Tribulus terrestis, which is a herb. They classify some herbs which have nothing to do with steroids as a steroid, and then if your product has Tribulus terrestis in it, or like L-arginine or stuff like that, they'll ban the product. But I didn't hear about this thing about Walmart or.
Walmart's got lawyers now here in Toronto.
I'm sure the rest of the world's going to find out about that one pretty soon. But these are things that I've actually been studying for the last, since the big gigantic one back in 2011 when my friend was affected, and then became a client. But at the same time, as we've been working our tails off to get him up to the levels back to his normal traffic, based off how much he's lost in sales, even right before the holidays. But now the cards are being pulled from him from paid advertising. So I'll let you guys know a little more of that. But it's just basically the industry right now is the one that's being affected, and that's the only reason I know about that. But Josh, that makes completely sense on some of the other things you just mentioned, also probably being part of that new policy.
And I think I was checking searchengine.roundtable.com, #1 fan over here. There's a post about the HTTPS and company, these companies, the SSL certificate companies, actually start promoting their product as, it will benefit you with Google bias type of stuff. I think it's kind of late. Go ahead.
It's late for what? For them to promote that?
I mean, yeah, I thought, the first day or the second day, probably they're going to go on the wagon and just, promote the hell out of it and throw a couple of press releases left and right about that, using SSL as a ranking signal. But
probably blog post on it August 8th, which was like the day after the announcement, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, they did. No, it was 2 days after the. I don't know when they sent out the email. I think the email is fairly new, and I believe there are ads and banner ads and different things out there from different SSL companies promoting it. But my favorite is the SSL links promotion being sent out there.
I saw that.
Those are.
I had someone email me and ask me how do they get these SSL links.
How many people here? How many people here have actually migrated? I know Baruch did before the announcement. 2? And me? I did 2 sites.
So, Barry, was
Not
there
my sites, but some other sites.
Lose traffic or gain traffic, or what was your expectation? Or you had none?
Wait, hold on, I can't hear you. Eric, say again?
Did you have any expectations of what it would do to your traffic?
Of course.
Yeah, I thought it would initially dive after a few days,
Yeah.
and then go back to where it was a month later. But nothing has really changed much. Hard to research in a roundtable. It's hard to track because it fluctuates between 5 to 5,000 visits per day, especially with Google News and if I know Penguin or not, stuff like that. No, I'm just joking. But Rusty Brick has been pretty solid. I did that a week ago Thursday, and let me bring up the analytics.
You happen to have about a whole gaggle of professional SEOs here. We could track your rankings for you if you like.
No, I'm looking at the organic Google traffic, and it's...
Well, that might not be the best way to do it, Barry.
You want me to look at my rankings?
Well, yeah, your rankings will tell you if your rankings have gone up or down. I mean, the organic traffic will be a secondary signal.
How accurate is that?
Extremely.
There's a lot of local stuff. There's a lot of personalized stuff, especially from Rusty Brick. There's a lot of personalization, a lot of mobile stuff going on.
It's crazy.
Facebook is saying the protocol switch won't affect likes for pages as well. We have a lot of likes.
Barry, did your local map go up, by the way?
What do you mean?
Remember we checked after Pigeon, we checked, I think it was web designers or something.
Actually, it's not I think, Barry, you need to update your Google Plus local page, right? You did that?
I did that.
Oh, okay. Because I think one of the but one of the migrations we did, we saw still traffic coming into the non-HTTPS version. It was like, what the hell? What's going on? I thought we did everything 301. It was that property, the actual, the local pack, and the local pack was pointing to the HTTP version.
So all your IYP and directories?
I'm not going through all that stuff and updating those links. What do you think 301s are for?
No.
Barry, have you lost your Facebook likes for individual URLs?
No, I hacked that.
Oh, okay. What, with the OG URL?
No, I think with Facebook, even Twitter, there's a rel canonical. I think you can tell which one. You can rel canonical that this is from this, and basically it will add together.
An OG schema.
So you can carry them across from
yes.
page.
So there's a bunch of different kinds of SSL certificates. There's the universal communication. There's the EV certificate, which actually gives you the green little company name at the top.
Yeah.
The SSL smaller plus or whatever. How long? Right now, John Mueller has said that he would just at 2 a.m. this morning or just today. He said that right now, as long as it's 2048-bit, they will give the SSL boost to any of these certificates. But some of these certificates, you don't have to announce your company name. Some of them you can do just a private person name, and some of them you need to use an official company name, and some of them you don't have to announce a name at all.
It's kind of shady, though, no?
Well, I don't know or care. How long do you think it will take before Google only gives the SSL boost, however much that is, to just the EV certificate where you have to announce your name and publicly announce it, and so they can see that it has your name attached to it?
Probably with adoption.
That's not so easy. Like, I was going to do an EV certificate for the Search Engine Roundtable, but it's not its own company. So for me to do that, I have to show Rusty Brick in the name, which is confusing in my opinion. So I just did a normal standard certificate without any EV. Rusty Brick already had an EV, so I just kept it. But it could be confusing for certain, like with Search Engine Land, it's owned by Third Door Media. So to show Third Door Media in the EV certificate would be, who ever heard of Third Door Media?
Right.
So I don't think that will ever be the case in that.
This makes an interesting problem for affiliate sites as well. If you're selling Amazon products, you can't say you're Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, what business name are you going to use? JoshKrasinski.com.
JoshKrasinski.com.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's great branding for SEOs or for consultants who sell themselves online because they can register a personal name or as a business, so they have to actually incorporate though, or be a sole proprietorship. And then you could say Josh Pashinsky right beside my website, SEO Help Me, if I bother to use that website.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they gave another boost for EV certificates. Although it has a lot of paperwork to go through that process, but I still think.
And headaches, like myself.
Not that much of a headache. It's just paperwork.
Yeah, but when a lawyer doesn't fill it right and they send it back.
You don't need a lawyer for that.
Okay, I can share screen and show you like the paperwork I had to do through GoDaddy.
I've done EVs for myself. I've done it for clients. You don't need a lawyer for it.
Yeah.
Well, you need a lawyer to incorporate your business or to become a sole proprietor.
Right, of course. Well, you can do that online too, to be honest. But
true. In the States, you can. I don't know. Can you in Canada?
I don't know. Canadian's a whole different country.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah, there are valid points to why Google might trust an EV certificate more than others, because obviously a lot more work to do, but I can't see them doing that. It's just, I guess I could see them doing that, but I'd rather than not.
I can see them doing that.
Well, what about mobile results? Look at
the 100% that all the results are solid. They're all real.
Nothing's 100%, but.
Hey Barry, think with your website now being SSL on the front end and everything else, when somebody's viewing it on their mobile device, wouldn't you think that would be more secure for the user at that end of the device for opportunity for, you can inject something from a website to a phone.
It's more secure for mobile, it's more secure for
everything.
Anything, so it doesn't make a difference. I mean, it's just that much more secure. It's secure. I don't know.
It's just another level of protection, I think, for the visitor, the experience.
Like the visitor's already used to going to a bank and he sees on the left side all green, HTTPS. I'm not sure if people do check that but then, and then the flow with regular websites now, so.
Especially if I was in e-commerce, I'm going to have that EV cert. But if I'm not in e-commerce, I'm not going to have the EV cert. Right? Or I could have the EV cert if I'm just collecting information for maybe a lead gen form. So that data is still being collected somehow. It's still transmitted through the wire, so you can still snip that if you're a hacker.
Well, John answered you, right? You asked him a question about that. He said he gave you an example about the postcard.
John did also say at 2 a.m. this morning that if he had to pick and choose between going HTTPS or mobile, 100% do mobile first.
Yeah, there we go.
If you were up at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I actually watched it. So.
And also, around that, the people this week started getting the faulty redirect notices telling webmasters that they should stop redirecting mobile users to their homepage. And supposedly not all of those warnings are legit. There's some confusion with Google. And there's also some confusion with this SSL stuff that Dave Naylor and some other people were actually complaining about, which seems weird. Like the host level, the SSL, the shared host level, and the CDN level, the SSL certificates they operate are not valid or misconfigured. And thus, because they're on that server, is generating SSL certificate errors within Google when you click from there or something like that, which I don't fully understand.
Yeah, we got one of the notices on the mobile redirect and for one client, and I just flat disagreed with Google. Not that they cared, but I mean it was a discontinued location that we had to send to someplace, and there was no listing, there was no close listing that would have matched. So we sent it to where we thought Google would trust would be the most relevant for them to find for that. And we ended up redirecting it to the Contact Us page simply because that was the closest match that we could get that wasn't the home page.
Yeah, that example that I sent you, Barry, it turns out it was just one page that was the same thing. It was a page that really didn't matter for anything, and they redirected it to their home page. It was one page, so it really wasn't a big issue.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it just seems very, like, very meta that they're even getting down to that. I mean, I could see some cases where that would absolutely help a webmaster out and so forth, but when you have a discontinued location and they're going to worry about whether or not that mobile, which, by the way, there was not, it was a responsive site, so there was no mobile. It was one site, same content, same everything, and they still did it. So redirecting from a responsive site to a responsive site.
Well, I think right now we hit the 3 p.m. mark. I would like to thank everyone that came to this Hangout. Appreciate it a lot. And have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Wissam. Bye-bye.